Poor people usually spend their money and invest what's left. That's the philosophy of the poor. Now, here's the philosophy of the rich. Rich people invest their money and spend what's left. And here's the startling answer. It really doesn't matter what the amount is. What's most important is not the amount. What's really important is the philosophy. So I would ask you to adopt this philosophy of spending after you have invested. Invest first, then spend.
Welcome to episode 4 of The Best of Me, found on YouTube and Spotify. My name is Samora Mangesi. This is our own little community there to promote self-love and self-respect through the reevaluation of the relationships we have with the vices that keep us stagnant and in a stronghold. Of course, we are available every single Wednesday afternoon where you can tap in to enjoy these conversations. Oh, my name is Samora Mangesi and they put Best of Me. And I hope that you have been enjoying being a part of this community so far. Of course, as per usual, be sure to share, like, subscribe, and of course, press that notification bell so you can be notified every single time we upload a new episode. You can also follow all of our pages at The Best of Me across the board, or just search for Samora_Mangesi, and there you'll be able to find a link that'll direct you to the other platforms. Now, one of the things that have been really, really eye-opening for me, especially since I decided to reevaluate my relationship with my own vices, definitely has to be the financial implications of being a part of certain communities, being a part of certain behaviors that are, dangerous. And I've been able to see the difference, and it's really big. And I thought it's very important for us to talk about money, especially in relation to substance use and abuse specifically. And I knew as soon as I thought of that I only had one person that I could call. Some people call him Big Brother. Abanye mambizo Benz. But Banzi Mcasa is here, and he is the founder of Future Planner. Budi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Episode 4.
Episode 4.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Can't get a little mile so that we can pay for all of this.
No consistency.
First of all, I want to ask you, Indubana, what's your poison?
My poison. I like coffee. That's something I survive on.
Okay.
Every single day.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. That
you know how I don't do that.
I know that you
my
like
secret stash. Thank you. There you go. Thank you. Must be here.
Now,
yeah.
apart from coffee, right? A lot of the time when someone says, what's your poison?
That's my poison.
It's generally someone who's standing behind a bar and they're asking you what it is that you drink.
Yeah.
However, in the context of this show, when I ask you what's your poison, I want to know what it is that you're dealing with.
That I'm dealing with.
What it is that is currently, in the true sense of poison, eating you up from the inside out.
Wow. Okay, that is such a deep question. I'm in therapy now.
Of course.
Yeah, so... Yeah, okay, that is a question I was not anticipating because of you talking about finance. But
basically, I'm looking at what it is that you are. What is an internal struggle that you're dealing with?
Internal struggle.
Yes.
Okay.
There are certain things that maybe we don't think about on a day-to-day basis, but when you then sit and reflect, you're like, actually, whether it's trying to be not where I'm supposed to be or where I want to be, whether I'm not showing up for my family as much as I would like.
Yeah, okay. I really need to okay. I think it's more of trying to make sure Kuba, you being in the platform that I'm in, where you're getting a lot of criticism.
Okay.
The type of content I talk about. I then find that there's a lot of expectation that people think that I'm very courageous, that I am bold and I'm not scared of anything. But I find that there are times where you're like, it's difficult to wake up, it's difficult to face the day because of these things that I'm facing. Because yes, they are, it might seem on the outside that, you're just talking, but the actual challenges in terms of the attacks that really now one is dealing with when it's not in the public platform, that you find that, okay, you don't know what is going to be like the future because of those things that is happening. You don't know whether you'll be guaranteed an income, if your bank account is going to be frozen, or anything is going to happen anytime, because I'm dealing with banks, I'm dealing with a system that can like switch the switch off anytime. So that for me is something that I'm finding quite scary to face. Yeah, but in terms of a poison that I use to cope, it's sometimes it's even a struggle to sleep. So what I would use would be, gummy bears, those
some gummies.
Yeah, some gummies, so that you can sleep, because it's difficult when you're looking at this. Yeah.
You mentioned the future when I asked you, what is your poison, what it is that is eating you from the inside. Do you think that is something that keeps a lot of South Africans up at night?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, cereals economy is very tough. Yeah. For you to be able to afford to put bread on your table is something that you could see that you are successful. The fact that you have a roof over your head is something that you are way above the rest who are even struggling to find a meal. So when you are able to do that, as much as it might not be where we would like to be when we compare ourselves to our peers, but the fact that we're struggling to keep up with the costs of like the fuel costs that are rising and all these expenses that are continuously rising and piling up, and then you have then on top of that the high unemployment. So obviously a lot of people are very much uncertain in terms of what the future looks like, and you don't know. There's so many retrenchments that are happening currently, so that is giving up people a lot of anxiety.
Yazi indlela othethela ezantsi ngayo ndiyacinga ngokuba ubana inoba xa sowufisha umuntu wakho xa usenza bedroom voice inoba ubanjani na, because
I get that out all the time. Can't you phone along umuntu uthi yo uthena ndifuna uthena uthetha nge-bedroom voice, and I'm like, well, this is how I talk. And it gets me a lot of trouble because because of how I talk and how I engage.
Yabona bonke abantu ababukeleyo ngoku apho bazawuthi uyandifuna labanzi, uyandifuna. So when we speak of the difficulties that we're currently going through as a country, just from an economic perspective, a lot of people tend to run to destructive behavior to cope.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us in this conversation to be able to have a conversation that looks at not only the current value of our money, but also the future value of our money. And I will use myself as a case study. I'll use myself as an example, because I was spending a whole lot of money on the nightlife, on alcohol, and a lot of the time it wasn't necessarily for myself. It was also the drunken generosity. Being around people, wanting to
make everyone happy,
make everybody happy. Abantu xa besithi bona bayagoduka, I didn't want them to go. I didn't want the fun to end. So therefore I'd offer to pay for the next round, and then the next round becomes the next round, and the next round becomes the next round. And I also then realized, when I kind of took stock, I realized abantu are advancing. Abantu are buying cars. Abantu are buying houses. I am very stagnant in where I am. Dihleli mna ngokuthi congratulations ebantwini, but essentially a lot of the time I am funding in nightlife. I am bleeding myself dry to make everybody happy, yet there is no development within my own life.
To the point where they even expect you to
absolutely
continue to pay.
There's an expectation sometimes. There's an entitlement sometimes. I want us to talk about Mhlambi, how much the general person spends towards indefana notwala okanye ke mhlambi and everything associated around with it as well.
Yeah, but I think you've touched on something here in terms of the reason why you were doing all of these things, and that is something we normally don't focus on.
Yeah,
we're looking at the end results, which is we're spending on alcohol, we're spending on these narcotics and all of these things, without looking at the underlying factor as to why are we doing these things. Because a lot of people use different things to cope. It can be alcohol, it could be even gambling. Now we're seeing that gambling is now taking over, and a lot of people now are in a worse financial situation than they are even realizing. So we sort of neglect the reason why we are doing this. Maybe even not taking alcohol, but have you then dealt with what was causing you to want to please and want to make people happy? Because then you can just switch with alcohol, and then it could be something else. You would still use it. So it will be certain things. So we need to understand what is it that causes us to behave the way we are behaving. Because when it comes to money, money is psychology as well. So when we don't understand the psychology of money, in terms of how it is, in terms of the energy that is involved around money, because we see that even, I think there's a song at Dr. Malinga that says, so that song is a confession of the energy of it, the money behind it. And if you are not aware of the psychology behind it, then you will find that, yes, someone is saying, I don't have a drinking problem, so you're not talking to me.
Yes, but
you have a spending problem. You don't have money at the end of the month. By the time the month end comes, you are in a negative.
And sometimes people genuinely retail therapy.
Yes, exactly.
So you're
exactly. Yeah, and then if you want to know what is your poison in what you ask, when it comes to money, watch how you feel when in contact comes in. Money in the bank. Watch your energy. Watch what everything around you says now that you've got money. Watch how you feel when you don't have money, and watch how you feel when you have that money. And then look at your behavior. What are you spending your money on?
I will say one of the best things that has happened to me, especially over the last couple of months, is the fact that andisenayo payday. I don't know what payday is, because I'm at a point now where if I want to take my mom out the day before payday,
you can.
I can leave the house and go to a petrol station, ndigcwalise i-full tank, ndihambe ndiyotsho rescue, ndingajongi ezi prices, ndibhatale, because, and even xa ingenile imali the following day, andihlelanga ndiyilindele. I don't, when I wake up, the first thing I want to check is if ingenile na.
So you've done a lot of work in
Yes.
terms of when you stopped drinking, and maybe disassociating yourself with even the crowds that you're around with. And that allowed you to do internal work, where now money is no longer in control of you. Because a lot of people, imali is in control. And like I said, it doesn't matter whether it's alcohol or what, but it could be a lot of people, they like it, like we see with each other, they will once they pay, they're gonna go wimp, or we grew up like, okay, you're going out, exactly. So it's zezo zinto that makes us not aware of, actually we've got a bigger problem here when it comes to money. And we will say that, not just because I don't do drugs, I don't gamble, now I'm fine. But you are broke at the end of the month. You can't manage your finances. So
what are the things we should be prioritizing when it comes to our money? And I asked this because I had a realization that I used to get anxious when I had to pay for things, when I had to pay rent, when I had to do whatever, and those are primary things. However, because my own priority was everything else. Excuse me. And in a sense, awunangxaki ukuswipe 3.0
or something
for something, or a dinner and drinks and or a night out, or you want to go and buy whatever item, or you are going to go and spend it on a certain experience. Yet there are things that are integral to your everyday livelihood. And we look at them and we say, yo, ayinenzile mali. Yet you live in your house on a daily basis. When I wanted to join the gym, I've been wanting to join the gym for a very long time. And I looked at the money and I said, I can't spend 1.2 on a gym. Yet I can go to the gym every single day, and I can go to any, VA around the country. Yet, if I pay 1.2 in one night, I don't have a problem. So what are the things that we're supposed to be prioritizing? And why do we have a lot of issues when it comes to priorities, when it comes to money?
Yeah, I think I can't dictate as to say what you should prioritize in your life, but what is important is how do you value yourself? Because sometimes, yes, you wouldn't mind paying for food for everyone else, but if it means that you need to get a comfortable bed so that you sleep well at night, or you spend a lot of money in that. So it depends on what is it for you that is important, what is it that you value.
Yeah.
And then, so it also goes to that introspection in terms of what are your struggles, what are your challenges that you had? Because that may be influenced by, sometimes with a poverty mindset, growing up in a poor environment where you mentioned about your anxiety about paying certain things.
Yeah.
So that could be influenced by a certain self-belief that was instilled when it comes to money.
Yeah.
Like, what our parents like to say when we wanted things growing up. You can't have whatever you want. All of those things that play in our head influence us in terms of how do we make our choices and what we spend our money on. So that needs a lot of internal work where we look at and say, okay, what is it that I value? And then what is it that I should prioritize? For example, like I said, I like coffee.
Yes.
But if I'm going to be buying coffee every single day of the month, every day of the month, then it means that I'm spending way more than if I'm buying a good quality coffee that I'm going to make it home. And then I know I'm saving. So those are the things where I'm like, yes, maybe I want to save and tighten my belt on certain things, but what I value and what makes me happy, I can still work my way around in order to achieve it. So it depends on you and what is it that you need to achieve.
So in order for me to come to this realization, in Rubana, I was spending a lot of money on nightlife. And the thing is, for me, it wasn't even about the drinks themselves, right? I loved the lifestyle around it.
Okay.
I loved the chaos around it. I loved being able to sit there and, having these conversations, and the music is a little bit too loud, so you're having to kind of shout across the table, and ordering shots secretly and people's faces when they come to the table, and now we're all taking shots, then it's like second location, let's move, let's go, where we're going. That entire excitement around it for me was really such a thing. And it was important for me in that to look at how do I fit into this, but also then how do I remove myself from this? Because as much as I still want the excitement, because sometimes I miss the chaos, I had to make a conscious decision to, but okay, I can still be a part of this chaos. But also I need to remove myself from the chaos enough for me to not be
want to pay as well,
and partaking and want to pay, etc. So I got to the realization also that I wanted better for myself. I wanted nicer things. I want to be able to move to a better apartment. I've been staying at the one I'm in for 4 years. I want to drive a better car. And it kind of also informed my decision to just stop drinking and remove myself, because I said, let me look at Ubombam.
Yes.
If I stop this thing, how much money can I actually have? And then look at the kind of car I'll be able to afford, you know? So I put myself on a little bit of a financial detox, stopped the drinking, joined the gym in order to keep myself accountable and mitigate the time that I would be idle in order to be able to stay, on this path. I realized I was spending a lot of money. I think just a quick calculation in terms of income versus expenditure, which I did in my head, and I live a pretty simple life. That was the most expensive thing in my life. When I was looking at it, and there are other expenses, of course, that are attached to it. It's now on the way home, you want to buy food. There's also additional fuel costs. There's the budget for being stopped, and either you are going to bribe the officer, or you are going to end up being arrested, and then you need to pay 1,500 Rand for bail. And then you need to pay an additional however amount to bribe a prosecutor. There's the possibility of scratching a motor or getting into an accident. There's that cost. There's the cost of losing a cell phone, especially in these places that you would go to. The snatching is rife. The pickpocketing is rife. Now you need to get another cell phone. These are all costs that we don't look at as direct costs, because we just look at what comes on the bill. And first of all, I want us to collate these expenses that people probably don't think of, the additional expenses surrounding nightlife and drinking and things like that, and maybe other vices gay as well. And then I would like us to decide on an amount that we'd like to work on and see how much maybe that would be in its future value.
I think it's so important that when you start doing that, for me, I'm an advocate of saying that you don't budget, or you don't plan your finances looking backwards, meaning going in reverse, where you are cutting down on things. For me, it's about what can you do to get what that you want. Like you're saying, you do love to go and experience the nightlife, even if you are now planning on cutting out on the drinking. So I would not say then, no, just cut out the nightlife altogether. It's what is it that you are trying to achieve, and then we then work from there. Because there are other ways where you can then look at how can you then increase this money that you have, and then put it in some other investment, or we are planning in for the future as well. So I like to also say that, poverty is expensive. When you are poor in South Africa, it's very expensive because, for example, if you can't afford to buy bulk, where you're buying a 12.5 sugar and your meal, and you are buying these 500 grams or 1 kilograms every single week, then if you're putting all those costs together, it amounts to something.
Having to buy a new pair of shoes every single month, because the ones you could afford were 100 Rand.
Exactly.
And now you end up buying shoes to the value of 1,200 Rand in the year, instead of having bought a shoe for 450 once off.
Exactly. So those are the things that you just need to look at as to, okay, what is it that you can do to increase the value that you are getting from this, so that you then grow. So for example, when you then stopped drinking, you now found that there's an additional 5,000 Rands that you were not used to, or it could be more based on your spending. Okay, do you have a ballpark figure on how much was spent? So we can work
I want to say don't judge me because some people spend this on one bill at a club.
Yeah.
But I realized that it was like 15 to 18.
Yeah.
You know, a month. And I really just thought this cannot be life.
Yeah.
I could do so much with this.
Yeah.
Especially in the industry that I work in that is so volatile and that does not have any guarantees. You know. So I thought it was very important for me to look at, okay, Banzi, I've got a little bit of money that is kind of left over now from time to time, you know. What should I be putting that money in?
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, we're not necessarily looking at the full Lendoga because I think the calculation is also based off of every single time I went and had lunch or had dinner, there was drinks. So therefore, that also counts. But now I can go to a lunch or a dinner and my bill is significantly less. So maybe let's say the figure is 10,000 Rand.
Yes.
And someone decides, they're going to cut out whatever it is that their issue is. And now they have 5,000 Rand that they have left. You know, that's just kind of idle. And of course, idle money then gets
used,
redirected to something else.
Exactly.
So what is it that we should be doing with that money as people who want to do better for ourselves? And how, just ballpark figures probably of how much that money would be in a specific amount of time.
So I think what is the fundamentals of financial planning for when you want to start anything is that, especially if you just got in your first job, is that at least 30% of whatever you are earning should be set aside because you need an emergency fund. You need at least 6 months of your savings worth of your salary. So if you're earning 10,000 Rands a month, you at least should be having 60,000 that is sitting there as an emergency fund. Then we are going to start thinking on then how do we then grow this.
But how do we even get there, Banzi? Because, you know, we have, first of all, I will say, I'll be the first person to say, Nobana, when you cut out a lot of things in your life, that's when you realize, Nobana, the money that you're making is actually a lot of the time not that bad. But it's just that redirection of the seed that is planted in our lives and what we actually decide to do with it sometimes is what is holding us back. But we say a lot of the time, Nobana, save what? There's nothing to save. How do I then get to a point? I'm earning 10,000 Rand. Kusekho irent, kusekho transport, kusekho kutya, kusekho abantwana. And then there's still I want to better my life through schooling and stuff like that and whatever. And there's also this black decks. I need to send money home because I've got a younger sibling. How do I then and then I also need to have a little bit of relaxation and release. How do I then have the money to be able to put aside 6 months worth of income without having to go and be a part of the Matlanga Commission?
So I think I don't know if you remember your first paycheck, how much you got. And because I think we have this thing of if I was earning 3,000 Rands and I could live within the 3,000, then now I have got 10,000, then something suddenly changes. You could survive well with 3,000 Rands a month. Now that you have 10,000 Rands, now you feel, okay, no, I'm worth 10,000 Rands, so I need a better place, a bigger space, this and this and this. So a lot of the times we move, we want to live a lifestyle that matches the income that we're earning, and then that's where the problem then starts. Because, for example, if you're earning now 40,000 Rands or you're a newly qualified doctor, now you feel like you need to get this big car. And then stay in this big house.
Newly qualified doctor of money pay slip of money later.
And then they're able to qualify and get entrapped in these debts. And that's where we need to start shifting our mindset, that just because now you were earning 10,000 Rands and now you are suddenly having 20,000 Rands does not mean now if you were staying in a 3,000 rand room or render, now that you're earning 20, you want to stay in a big apartment in Sandton, and you want to match that. And then that's why you find that you don't see the money that you are making, because every time you want to maximize this amount. So, and then another thing that traps our mindset is this: you don't have to earn once a month.
Yes.
There is no one that forced you to think about the salary that you are earning is enough. There are other ways you can increase your income, because you either have investments that you can start, and there's things you start just by having like 300 rands a month, setting aside, buying exchange traded funds, or doing these tax-free savings accounts where you are accumulating for like a good 10 years, where you will have a substantial amount in 10 years, but just putting 500 rands a month. So it's not what I was trying to also say. This thing, you are able to earn passive income. You can find side hustles that you can do. So we just need to think outside of the box, so that you are able to put money aside and invest for your future. It's very important.
So looking at me now and the current situation that I am in, and mhlambi ndifuna uthatha 2,000 rand every single month, and I want something that is going to give me a good return in the next 5 years, right? Specifically, let's take the car situation. You see, I'm willing to drive the car that I'm currently driving for the next 5 years whilst I put this money aside, in order for me to be able to then get the one that I want in 5 years' time. Le 2,000 rand ndibeka ecaleni bekufama ndifaka entwenini. What is the best place to put this money to be able to get the highest return in a period of 5 years? And also maybe just ballpark what we might be looking at.
So
that figure.
No, it's a good question, because we really don't understand that when it comes to that part. There's not much education around it. So, and then we also find there's scams now that are coming up where you're saying, just put 5,000 rands and you'll get 500 rands every month in returns. So those languages, like your return of investments, we need to then look at. So when you are saving, a lot of people then ordinarily just look at having a fixed deposit, the 30-day notice. But one thing you need to look at is the interest of the rate of the growth of your money. So if ordinarily in any bank now, you hardly get anything close to 7% interest rate. So if you are saving your money in the bank, or just putting it in a normal savings account, then that's like 3 or 5%. So it will not achieve this goal that you are trying to get to. So when you are saying that, okay, after 5 years, you want to be able to have some money substantial so that you buy your dream car, then we need to look at where will your money grow the most. So anything that can bring an interest of up to 10%, 12%, that is where you should be looking at. So that means then you can't then invest your money in banks only. You need to look at the stock markets as well, where you are buying shares in different companies. So that those because the interest rate or the growth that comes from those, then it's bigger than what you are getting in the banks. So
the risk is more though as well.
The risk is more, but like I said, there's different. Like I'm not like, you're not going to be trading and like doing like, okay, I'm buying and selling. So when I'm saying you are looking at exchange traded funds or these tax-free savings accounts where they are like a baskets of, or you can even go to these fund managers where they manage and invest on your behalf, and then they give you proper analysis as to where they've put your money and how your money is performing, because they've got a professional that understands and knows where these things go. But to a safer place is to just open a tax-free savings account where if you research on tax-free savings, because I cannot say according by the law to say pick this particular one, but a tax-free savings, exchange traded funds, if you're looking at doing your own things, the money there's a steady growth, and it offers you a higher investment, a higher returns from what you are investing over.
So since 2000 genyanga, we are now looking at 24,000 rand per annum, and then we take that, we times it by 5 years. 100 and
okay, I can do some calculators.
Okay, yeah. So it's
24,000.
24 by 5. 5 times 4 is 20. So you've got 120,000.
Okay, let's just say. Yeah. Then you are looking at how, because it's 24,000. Yes. So you want to look at compound interest, where you are able to earn interest on this interest. So it's gonna, if year 1 was 24,000, then year 2 is 24,000 plus the 10% of interest you earned last year.
Yes.
2,000. So then it compounds like that. So you want to, so wherever you're going to be placing your savings and your investments, you need to look at what interest am I earning, so that you then can see it's going to double in this 5 years, or is it at least going to earn you good 50,000 in that. So the reason why I'm also saying that I'm a champion for tax-free savings is because, like it says, tax-free savings is tax-free, because a lot of this interest can be taxed, because in terms of the capital gain that you got from the investment. So if you, let's say you've invested this 100,000 over 5 years, and you gained now another 100,000, then you need to be paying tax on that as well. So then there are those that are relatively well, and if you start early, especially if you are someone like who's an independent like you, who's working for yourself and invoicing, and you don't even have a retirement annuity.
Absolutely.
So those are the things that one absolutely has to prioritize, because you start early, and the more time you have, because these things work best with time. So if you investing for 10, 20 years, you'll make way more money because it's compounding and there's more time, than when you are only having 5 years and you're going to have to go to retirement, and all of these contracts end, and then there's nothing. You didn't put anything aside to make sure that you have a safe future.
Banzi, unfortunately, we are running out of time. I think that this is a very important conversation that people need to have, and not just from the perspective that we're having it in now. We've mentioned things like investments. We've mentioned things like retirement annuities, and also just planning for your kids as well.
Exactly.
Personally, I have a very contentious relationship with the memory of my late father, because I felt like we were not necessarily taken care of whilst he was alive, and then he didn't necessarily take care of us in death as well. And it's really, really something that I struggle with a lot, and I hope that Abantu will be able to plan for their own children. So when it comes to planning for the future, just tell us really quickly where people can find you and how they can go about contacting you to be able to plan financially.
It's very important that we, especially if you're having children, if you are having children or you're planning to have children, you need to have a good solid plan for your children. You can even start opening this savings account whilst they're still young, so that when something happens, then at least there is a proper plan for a cushion for them. So for me, you can find me on futureplanner.co.za, where you can even get the reading materials where you learn about certain investments that are there. You set your will, you create your trusts, you just learn to have there's lots of options for you to gather and get some resources. You can even contact me there. My number is also on the website. And you can email info@futureplanner.co.za, and then we will sit with someone who is going to help you to plan your finances and your future.
Big brother, thank you so much for joining us and setting us right, man. You know, course correcting for us. I think it's very, very important. Of course, the conversation does continue on the socials. You can find me at Samora_Mangesi, also on @TheBestOfMe across the board. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and of course, tap on that notification bell so you can be notified every single time that we have a brand new episode. Again, thank you so much for all the love and support. We really do appreciate it. Continue to engage in the comments so that we can know what kind of conversations you would like us to bring you. And also, if you just need some support with something, we are here to help direct you to the right kinds of places. We'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.